Hey, what's up guys and gals? My name is Ricknineg. Thank you so much for joining me today. I am so excited to be making this video. If you are excited as well, I hope you join me and stay for the long haul because I'm about to review a fantastic film. Now this film goes back. If you've been watching my I Love Lucy stuff, if you've been watching my Three Stooges stuff, pretty much anything, this is probably the oldest piece of media I've talked about or I've referred to. This is going back to 1933, guys and gals. The film is called Duck Soup, and it is, of course, done by the fabulous and wonderful Marx Brothers. I mean, I've been a big fan of these guys for forever. I remember maybe 10 years old, I would go to the library with my mom, because remember, this isn't when we had the internet or anything. When I was 10 years old, that's where you would go to rent VHSs, cassettes. And so I remember going to the aisle with the comedy and the classics. And I don't know what did it. I kind of was addicted to the old stuff. Yeah, at 10 years old, I remember my brother was around 5, and he would go and play on the computer, Magic School Bus, and that was his thing. But I would go and look at these movies, and I saw Duck Soup. I saw Animal Crackers, Monkey Business. I was basically able to look at most of their film library. So it was amazing. And of course, that got me into other things and other shows and Charlie Chaplin and so forth. But today we're going to discuss Duck Soup. I do have to tell you that there may be spoilers here. So if you have never seen it, you have no idea what it's about, and maybe you've wanted to see it, or you kind of don't want to spoil the story, you might want to just have a little bit of caution. I will tell you though that this isn't the type of movie where you're going to be like, oh my goodness, who's the murderer? Is it the butler? It's not that type of movie where it's spoiled, but I know some people, they want to go into it completely fresh. So I think I'm going to be referring to characters, I'm going to be referring to certain scenes and things like that. I guess I won't spoil the ending, not that the ending is a big ta-da. This film, I guess I can start my review by saying, if you think about a film, it's an hour long, an hour and 5 minutes, I believe, from beginning to end. And if you want to think of it as a complete narrative and story, it is that. But even more than that, it's a bunch of scenes, let's say 10 great comedic scenes that are put together and connected with a story, if that makes sense. Even the main story, you can pay attention to it, you can enjoy it, but that's not, at least in my opinion, the golden moments of this. For example, in the beginning, we start out with the entrance of Groucho Marx, and he makes his appearance, and it's great because there's this whole fanfare and there's kind of this musical number alluding to him. And again, there's no story here. It's just saying, hey, we're waiting for our leader, and so he's the leader of a country named Fredonia, and so it's just comedic and hilarious. In my opinion, this is probably their greatest film. It's just done very well, and there's very few dull moments. I have a little cheat sheet here, a little bit of notes that I took during watching the movie, just so I can refer to certain things. So I will be kind of periodically looking down so that I can see that. So let's get right into it. This, of course, has the 4 Marx Brothers. You have Harpo, Chico, Groucho, and Zeppo. Of course, Zeppo, some people, maybe if you're not really familiar, everyone kind of heard of Harpo and Groucho, and maybe not Chico, but they're all brothers. They're all blood brothers, and they're very talented in their own ways. They're all different. You know, Harpo's, of course, the mute, but super hilarious. He's kind of the mime. And then we have Chico, who's kind of the Italian type character, who is just really witty and very musically talented on the piano, may I add. We also see Groucho, and he is more of a dialogue king. He can literally say so many jokes that you will be laughing at one, saying another, and you would have missed that joke. That's why this movie is highly rewatchable. I know some people don't like to rewatch, but some people want to know what the replayability is, and it's super high because I watched this over and over. I did watch it before making this review, even though I've seen it before. And let me tell you, there are so many things that I still miss, so many jokes, because I'm reacting to something else, and I hear it, and I'm like, what? He said that? And then I'll just laugh again. So it is great. Very interesting, in the beginning, there's this sign that says we're proud NRA members. So I don't know if that was Universal or Paramount, because they're both billed here, but it's just in the opening credits. And it's really funny because you actually have an image of ducks in a bowl of water. I'm assuming it's not boiling. I don't think so, because they're kind of frolicking. It's like a duck bath, I guess, little baby ducks. And I guess that's where you get the duck soup. So that is awesome. Margaret Dumont, of course, plays the foil, or I guess the straight man, quote unquote, even though she's a woman, but that's the term, straight man. She's the one who kind of stays straight throughout the whole thing, and they beat jokes off of her, and they bounce back off of her and Richa, so I think that she was excellent. Margaret Dumont is excellent. She is in a lot of Marx Brothers films, and I think she is just perfect in this role. Of course, Groucho plays Rufus T. Firefly. He's kind of the president, de facto leader of this country, Fredonia, and it's pretty hilarious. I won't go through all the plot, but if you want to know that. Now, let me tell you, this movie has grand sets. I'm talking about huge sets. Like, I don't know if it was camera illusions or not, but there's tons of actors on set. At least there's one scene where there's close to 200 characters and they're doing this musical number, and it's really crazy to see all the work they went into making movies like this. The idea was they were not only entertained by jokes, by clown antics, but also by music, and so musical instruments, but as well as how should I say, musical numbers of people moving back and forth, synchronized dances and numbers, and it's just like you're getting your money's worth. That's what these films were trying to do. It wasn't just jokes, or it wasn't just music. It was a mixture of everything. You got it all. Interestingly enough, you don't have Harpo playing the harp in this one, which is unfortunate because he's amazing. And you also don't have Chico playing the piano. It's one of the only instances that I remember that happening, so it's kind of interesting to know. We see Zeppo first, and of course he is fantastic and great, but he has a very, very small role in the film. He kind of appears here and there. He's more like a guest star. Of course, most of the film is centered around Groucho, Harpo, and Chico. They are kind of the main protagonists here, and they are excellent. Again, Groucho's dialogue, his jokes, you will miss some as you watch this, so I would highly recommend that you go and do this. Again, I would say you need to watch this. If you even have a minuscule interest in these guys, watch it, and if you like it, I think you will be absolutely thankful that I recommend it to you, because it's such a great film. Of course, I'm not going to refer to every scene, but I'm going to tell you one or a few scenes. The first scene, there's a running gag that happens with Harpo and Groucho. It's great. Of course, Harpo's kind of the assistant, or he's chauffeur of Rufus T. Firefly Groucho, and he shows up basically in this motorcycle and sidecar, and there's this running gag. It happens a total of 3 times that I counted, where he goes up, and of course he has Groucho get into the sidecar, and he's supposed to pull away, but Harpo always pulls away by himself and leaves Groucho over there, and it's hilarious because then Groucho's like, well, I can outsmart you, I can take the sidecar, or excuse me, I can take the main motorcycle, and then it doesn't work, and then the sidecar goes. I don't know, it's just a great scene. There's a lot of running gags in it. Absolutely. Then there's a spy scene that is just between Chico and Harpo. Chico's talking, and there's another man involved, and Harpo is destroying this man's office without this guy even knowing. It's hilarious. I kind of don't want to spoil it. Maybe I am, but you need to watch this. It is just an excellent scene. There's also a Chico and Harpo scene where they're outside, and they have this running gag with this man who is kind of bullying them. They're running a business. Peanut stand versus a lemonade stand, and they again wreck each other's businesses. It is great. It is hilarious. One of the great things to watch as well. I would definitely say that this is a satire. The whole film, there's talks about government and politics here and there, but then when it gets a little bit serious, boom, there's a joke in there, and there's another joke, and there's another joke. Maybe get a little serious, and then there's a sight gag. It's pretty continuous, and that's what I love about this movie. There's very few low moments. There are some, and for me, when they start singing, kind of fast forward a little bit. Not that it's bad, but I'm really not into the musical type genre. But sometimes I just watch them because they're fun and entertaining. But if you're a musical person, then you would love this. Now remember, this is pre-Stooges. This is before the Stooges were on film. This is something where it's amazing to think about. 1936 Stooges, 1933. These guys predate them by a good almost 10 years, going back to 1929 Coconuts. It is The Coconuts, I believe it is. And it's just amazing. Now, of course, the tie of this movie to Lucille Ball is, of course, the mirror scene that Lucille Ball does in one of her episodes with Harpo Marx. That was first done in Duck Soup. And, of course, they gave permission to do it on the show. And it is glorious. It is amazing. It is, I can't describe it. It's one of those beautiful moments in film history that you just need to watch. Also, there is another scene where they're supposed to be really quiet, and all of a sudden, Chico tells Harpo, you need to be quiet. Do you have a light or a match? And he pulls into his pocket, pulls out a full-blown blowtorch, turns it on, and goes, it's super loud. It's just hilarious. There are things like that. You need to remember that the Marx Brothers were around pretty much when sound started to become a thing. And these guys were very cartoony. I mean, even think about before cartoons were a big thing. They pulled big things out of their pants, out of their pockets, and did all these wacky things. It's almost like cartoons copied from these guys. It's just so amazing. Something I want you to think about. Very similar, I think, of the Stooges. So that's why these guys are so important. So much that they're pioneers of comedy. There's even an allusion to Paul Revere's Ride done by Harpo, and it's amazing. And there's a final scene where he's hiding from a husband when he's in a lady's house, and he's in the bathtub with water under the guy as he is taking a bath. It is super hilarious. Now, the whole movie kind of builds up to this war. I won't spoil what happens at the end, but I will tell you that only about 8 minutes is the war. Pretty much you have 50 or so minutes, 52 minutes of just complete buildup, and then you have the 8 minutes of silly war. It's amazing and hilarious. I keep saying that, but it really is. Well, this is solid entertainment. It's classic entertainment. It's very innocent in that sense. There's little things, little risque things here and there, but for 1933, it is just amazing. No CGI. No craziness in terms of vulgarity or bad language, so everyone can watch it. And guess what? It still is funny in 2017 when I posted this video. So hopefully this gives you just an idea of what this film is about. Go and check it out. I will leave a link in the description if you want to take a look and maybe purchase it for yourself. That's a way to support the channel. But also, if not, it's just maybe a way for you to get into these great characters and these guys that are truly legends. If you're a fan of any of these classic people, these guys, you will fall in love with them. So thank you so much, guys and gals. If this review helped you, please leave a thumbs up. I would absolutely recommend this movie. I tell you to watch it over and over again. I think you will have laughs, because I still do. We'll see you all next time, and don't forget how important you are, how unique you are. That's something that so many people forget about these days, and I want to remind you about that. We'll see you next time, guys and gals, and don't forget, be hopeful.